Well, hey, Rel, you still awake? What's up, Rel? I seen you over in John's a little bit earlier. Hey, the end of that StreamYards, Rel, where John came up on panel with you, even though I had called him out several times to come to my panel by himself, and he wouldn't. But he had no problem jumping up on the panel with you when me and him argued, and you kind of cut it off because it was just nothing but a streaming match. Of course, when you go in someone else's yard talking shit, of course they're going to come at you. But at the end of that live, remember when the StreamYard shut down, Rel? Did you happen to save that? Because what John just sat there and lied and said was that after the live was over, you cut it off because you was laughing at me and John so much. You cut it off. John said that you don't lie, Rel. He said, you don't lie. He said, John, I said to him, John, the reason I don't like you is because you're a faggot. John, Rel, do you still have that clip? Because that's not what I said. What I said, John, is, John, fuck you, John. You the motherfucking faggot. That's what I said. Where are you at, Rel? You still awake? Let me see. Come on into the chat. Come on into the chat, John. John will sit and make up story after story after story with no validation, no backup, none. Now, when there's a murder trial between people that know each other, I knew the family. I knew the family. They knew us. We were friends. We partied with each other. My son was with their daughter, their niece, their nephew for years. So when this happened, there was some arguing that went on. The first thing that they did before my son was arrested was post a big picture of him on Facebook, telling everybody, if you see this motherfucker, drag him in your house and kick his ass, blah, blah, blah. So I messaged one of them and said, hey, man, take my son's fucking picture down. We don't even know what happened yet. That's what happened. So there was arguing back and forth. And then within that arguing, there were gunshots. There were people pulling up on each other. There was a friend of mine that rolled up on somebody's house who had fired shots at my ex-wife with a shotgun. Their people went to jail. There was a whole bunch of that shit. There was a whole bunch of fighting back and forth. But these fake screenshots that people are putting out there and all that bullshit, that's all fake bullshit. Today, when I run into the family, we don't have nothing to say to each other. We don't talk. It's only these fucking people on YouTube that have shit to say. The family, we don't talk. Justice have been served in that case because my son got a life sentence for what he did, and that's what he deserves. We could talk now. Now, Rel likes Rel and the truth, Tracy, the truth, the light truth, Tracy. She will tell you about my very first post. When this first happened, it was national news. A lot of people knew about it, but my very first post. If anybody wants to ask her what my very first post was and my very first Facebook group was, then go ask Tracy. I'm not even going to tell you. And ask her why she called me to have a talk with me about my very first post and for a week after my post. Just ask Tracy. Okay? There was no harassing of the other family, but there was arguing between the families. John can say whatever he wants to say. He's going to say whatever he wants to say. Right? He also said on Rel's panel, there is no video of him saying that he wants to hang. He used to hang with pretty white boys. There's no, he did say the pretty boys. I'll give him that. But he said there was no video. And he said if I produced that video, then he would shut up. And I produced the video. John is sitting over there talking about me and Rel's argument. Right. Me and Rel's argument had nothing to do with the ladies on YouTube. Me and Rel's argument started over a true crime case, right? And then Rel started talking, and all these lady haters came over and started saying, well, Bryan did this, and Bryan did that, and Bryan did this, and Bryan did that. Rel encouraged them to write up police reports and stuff to get something done, and nothing ever came of it. Rel will tell you to this day, like John keeps going after these women, right? And the women retort back. So that's okay, which is the same thing. Oh, Tawanda, they also said, one of them over there, Tawanda, said that I doxed you and caused your work to be called, right? And we know that that's not true. But anyways, John keeps going after these women. They keep going back after him. So Rel's like, well, these women keep going at him too, which is the same conclusion that Rel comes to, and it has said on his own lives, about these women, that he really thought at first that I was picking at these women until he got to looking at it. He'll tell you this. He got to looking at it and seeing, well, these women seem to be picking with him. So he comes back at him. He'll tell you this. All right. I told Rel when we were first arguing, I said, you're going to meet this guy named John. He's going to slide on over here because he sees you picking with me. All right. And that's what happened. That's a fact. John, now Rel and John are friends. That's cool. But, it seems like John's getting out on us by bringing up this case. It seems like John. Right, but Tawanda, you know that I had nothing to do with that, and you said so. You said so. Well, you told me that. I had nothing to do with that. So this is the thing. John and I have been bickering for about 3 years now, and the whole time John's known me, he's known about this case with my son. He never really brings it up, but now that he's really mad at me, he's really pissed off at me because I for some reason, he absolutely hates Tiff and Molly and Laura. He hates them. He doesn't have hate for me. He really hates them. So now that he's mad at me, he's known about this case for all this time. He's known about this case for all this time. But only yesterday did he decide that Braden needed justice. So essentially what John has done is, one, they lie about everything. That little website that he brought up was made up by family members. And anybody can make a website on Wiki. They can say whatever they want. There's nothing you can do. But last week, John wasn't talking about Braden's case. The week before that, John wasn't talking about Braden's case. The week before that, John wasn't talking about Braden's case. But all of a sudden, now that John's mad at me, he needs to go out into his shed. No, it's okay. You're right, Tawanda. John needed to go out in his shed and get a shovel and sharpen that shovel up and go to a child's grave and dig that child up to make a point, or attempt to make a point. He needed to get on out there with that shovel and get to digging. This case is 5 years old. Justice has been served in the case. You can see the media clips. And John, if you want to do a documentary about it, go ahead. Do a documentary. But remember, I got every piece of paperwork. I got flash drives full of conversations that I've had. I've got the man who sat on the stand and said that Luke told him this and that. And I've got the conversations where he said he never said that. So if you do a documentary, you just be sure to know that I'm open and available to interview, because you won't do that. You want to sit and call people tragedy pimps, right? But now that you're mad at me, right? You're mad at me. Like I said, last week you wasn't talking about Braden. But now that you're mad at me, all of a sudden, justice for Braden, right? Well, actually, in all, let's talk about justice. That's okay. It's okay, Lab. Let's talk about justice. In Ohio offender search, look up Michelle, Mooty. I appreciate you, Tawanda. Look up Michelle, Mooty, and look at her case. Michelle Muti, she's out now. She finally got out because the courts had to let her out. Michelle Muti was living with a man who was abusive towards her and her children. In response to that, Dayton Children's Services put a restraining order on that man that he was not allowed to be around her children. She violated that court order and allowed that man to be around her children. Hey, she allowed that man to be around her children, even though the courts said he wasn't allowed to be around them. Subsequently, he killed one of her children. So since she violated that court order, she was sentenced to 12 years in prison for failure to protect the child. The CPS worker that put that order out on Michelle Muti, Mooty, is the very same CPS worker who put a court order on Kelsey, which was Braden's mother, that my son was not to be around Braden. Kelsey violated that court order and allowed my son to move in with her. For 2 years, he lived there. Both sides of the family knew he lived there. I knew he lived there. His mom knew he lived there. Her people knew he lived there. Everybody knew that he lived there, and they got along just fine. So don't say, well, you knew that court order was there. No, they were grown. All right? So that we all knew they lived there. The court order was put on them because in 2015, Braden showed up with a small concussion on the back of his head. John says my son injured him in 2015. What John doesn't have is the paperwork that I have that shows that Kelsey and Luke both left statements saying that while they were sleeping, Braden climbed up to the top of his crib and fell out, and that's how he got his concussion. That's why they released him, because Kelsey said she woke up to find him there like that. And I've got that paperwork. But anyways, CPS put an order anyway after they investigated that. They said, well, you two shouldn't be together, blah, 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 right? So they put an order on my son, Luke, that he shouldn't be around, that they shouldn't be together, period. But anyways, Kelsey violated that court order and let Luke live with her. By law, Kelsey should have been convicted for violating that order, just like Michelle Muti was convicted for violating the order which led to the death of her child. Yeah, he fell out of the playpen. Well, it was the crib, actually. It was a crib that was made into a playpen. He climbed up to the top. My other son used to do that. They both said that. That's why Luke was released. All right, but everybody says he had abused her first. Well, Children's Services opened a case anyway, and that was their thing. But anyways, I've posted the court's order that Kelsey wasn't supposed to have Luke around Braden according to that order, which that court order, it expired on February 14th, Valentine's Day, the very same day that Braden died. Now, my son should not have done what he did, and I've said this over and over. He's my son. He shouldn't have done what he done, and he deserves what he got. He deserves it. I've said this. Now, when Kelsey and them were coming at me, oh, your son this, they're going to do this to him in prison. They're going to twist him up, and they're going to make a bitch out of him in prison. My response to them was, Kelsey, if you would have followed that court's order, we wouldn't have anything to talk about today. Nothing. They used to come at me in my messages. They made Facebook groups about me. Tawanda knows this. Tracy the Truth knows this. They have Facebook groups called the St. John's of Dayton And Trish was involved in that. Ask her, she'll tell you. And I would ignore these people. I would ignore them just like the Laundries ignored those protesters outside their house. I would ignore them, right? And when I ignored them, they would make fake Facebook profiles of myself. I've got, if I have to, I'll bring them up. I've done this before. I've got screenshots of them accidentally forgetting that they were in my profile talking to each other. So they would make fake Facebook profiles of me and make it look like I'm saying this and I'm saying that when I haven't. Right? I ignored them just like the Laundries ignored the media and the people, the protesters out there. I didn't say anything. But there had come a point where people came in to my Facebook messages. They started coming into my Facebook messages. They started coming to my wife's Facebook messages. My sister's up in Michigan. My sister's down in Florida. I mean, these people were relentlessly attacking the family. Right? So I got to the point where I said, you know what? I'm not going to sit back and listen to this shit anymore. I said a few things to them out of anger. You know, one of them, they used to call it, my wife has got cerebral palsy, which, you know, it makes one of her hands, one of her arms where she can't use it like other people can use their arms. You know, it's kind of small. When she moves one finger, they all move. And they would call her clutch, and they would call her strong arm, and they would put up pictures of Chris Elliott, that actor with the strong arm guy, right? Well, I'll tell you what, Kelsey's sister came in my messages one time and said, yeah, that's why you got a fucked up ass wife who's got a little clutch strong arm and blah, blah, blah. And my response to her was, let me tell you something, bitch. Nicole might have the strong arm, she might have cerebral palsy, but she could pick up her kid today. Guess what? Kelsey's sister never messaged me that way again. So there have been a couple times where I have fought back. Sure. Mm-hmm. But as far as his Facebook post, that sand dancer that gets up under John's comments and says shit, ain't none of that true. None of it. My first initial response to Facebook and everybody else was, my son did this, and I know he fucking did this. Fuck that. I told my family I wasn't paying. I didn't pay a single dime for any type of defense with him. None. Now, he's serving his time. He's my son. If people expect me to turn off what I have for my son, then I don't deserve to be a parent at any rate. No. If he was anybody, and honestly, God's truth was, if he was anybody else, I'd be like burning to the stake. But this is my son. This is my child. You know, John's going to sit and say whatever he wants to say, but he ain't going to come to this panel. He never would. I used to put live up after live up after live up after live up going, John, come on over here. Come on over. He wouldn't. But as soon as he got to be friends with Rel, he jumped up on Rel's panel. No big deal. He needed a little backup. Right. And the fact of the matter is, like, I could step outside of my house today, or I could be out somewhere today, and I could see one of the Fergusons, and we just don't talk to each other. There ain't no flipping each other off. There's no more fighting on Facebook with them. There's no more arguing with them at all. A lot of them have latched on to Rel, and they're on his Facebook. But when we see each other out, you know, you have to move on. They don't bother with us. It's only people on YouTube, people like John. Anybody that's ever gotten mad at me has brought up Braden. Molly's done it. Molly did it once. Laura's done it. Whenever somebody gets mad at me, they get an argument. Oh, well, your son did this. Well, you know what? That's what my fucking son did. He was 23 years old when he did that. If people want to believe that back in 2017, I woke up one morning and I called my son. I said, hey, you know what? You need to kill that fucking baby. That's what you need to do. You need to kill that baby. And then when you do it, I'm going to start calling everybody in their family and harassing them for it. Then you're fucking stupid. If you're that dumb. John's going to say that I harassed that family. When the truth of the matter is, we definitely were arguing. There was no harassing. If people think that Braden's laying up in intensive care and I'm just sitting back itching, waiting on him to die. Oh, I'm waiting on him to die. So I can call the family and go, ah, ha, 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 ha. then you're fucking stupid and you all deserve each other. All of you fuckwits deserve each other. John also said to me on Rail's panel, I said, well, I thought you was putting me in jail. I thought you was doing this and you was going to do that because he keeps saying he's going to put me in jail. That I've been harassing him and he's going to put me in jail. And I said, well, I thought you was going to do all this. It's been a year now, John. He said, well, you just ain't worth it. You ain't worth it. That's what he said. That's right on Rail's Live. You ain't worth it. No, John. The fact of the matter is you can't do anything legal to me because we are fighting. It's both of us that are participating. When Rail was coming at me and my family, and this is something me and Rail talk about. When Rail said he was going to do this and that, and he was calling my job and all that, of course I called the police. And one of the main things that they said to me as far as, well, we might be able to get a little misdemeanor charge on Rail, right? But the main problem was, and people that know me know, is that I kept engaging. I kept fighting with him. I kept on fighting and fighting and fighting with him. They're like, it's two people fighting. He can say what he wants. And Rail's not stupid. He can say what he wants. Now, if I was to sit back and Rail was saying all this shit and I didn't engage, engaging is the key word. Basically, well, like everybody knows what Rail did, which is fine. This is drama. This is back. He doesn't want to be known for it. But he had people call my job. He had people. He kept putting up my address and stuff like that. But he literally was only talk. He was just talking, right? So the police are watching all this stuff. And they're going, yeah, but he's not nothing, until he does something. Ain't nothing we can do. Right. So my situation with calling the police was, I worked so much. And here's my wife at home with my kids. I was worried. And Rail will tell you, I could pay somebody $1,000 to come do you in. He has said that. I'm not going to sit and make up no lies. So when I leave the house, I'm at work wondering what, some crackhead going to come over there or something. John Rail's talking about how he's had people's houses burnt down and cars burned up and all that shit. Rail has said this. These ain't no lie. So I'm sitting there I'm worried about what's happening at my house when I can't be there. So, yeah. Now Rail says he's not in the drama anymore. I see him right over there with John. And then I see John say, at the end of that live, when I was on panel with Rail, and Bryan was so embarrassed. That's why he won't come over to mine. If he comes over to mine, he'll be the one getting embarrassed. But, hey, if I go inside of somebody else's yard, you can expect to be embarrassed. But look, he said that I said, John, the reason I hate you is because you're a faggot. That's not what I said. And Rail knows that's not what I said. After that clip, after the stream live went off, and there was like a little second, I said, John, you're a motherfucking faggot. That's what I said. But it's all right, John, because you got a whole panel, over, if you look on Skittlepox, there's 5 or 6 other guys up there calling you a faggot. You are a faggot, John. You're a bitch boy. Faggot seems to be an acceptable word anymore. Thank you, Rex. Thank you for that, Rex. But at any rate, John, if you want to do that documentary, remember, I've got the flash drives. I've got all the paperwork. I've got things that you don't even know about. So if you do it, come clean. Do it right. Do it right, John. And I'll tell you now, my boys are back hanging with Tyler and Taylor, which are Braden's uncles. They're back. The younger part of the families are back hanging together. Now, some of the Fergusons, when I sold weed, some of the Fergusons used to come to me and buy weed. One of them is on Rail's Facebook now. Just come on, can you loan me a 20? Can you front me a dime? Okay, I don't have it now, but all the adults, they don't. But if I run into like Victoria or Eddie or any of them out there, they're not going to say nothing to me. You can look on my son's Facebook page, Ryan Luke. Right, we have a Facebook page up for him, which I don't participate in it. You don't see me leaving comments there. There's a video up where I've talked to my son. I hadn't even talked to him for a year. My contact with him is minimal. It's very minimal. Now, his mom likes to raise money for him so he can eat, and she'll come over. She'll get a hold of me once in a while and say, well, Luke needs a box. Luke needs some food, and I will. I'll give her money to get to him. But I haven't visited with him. I haven't seen him, and it's all we talk about it. Man, it was on my son's Facebook page as early as last week. It was just run by my other son. It's Ryan Lucas. We got one Ferguson on there by the name of Pee Wee that still comes on that page to harass. Still comes on that page. When people come to me now, say something about my son, I'll say, you know what JPay is, right? If you got a problem with the person that committed this crime, then use that JPay and tell him about it, because I didn't do it. No, my son was 23 years old. He was 23 years old when he did that. I had been divorced from his mother from the time he was 12 years old. I didn't even live there. You know, and when the morning, look, I turned him in. That was made clear on the stand. The police officers that testified, I posted this because I had every bit of the court case. People were asking me because I was doing true crime. They were like, I posted the 911 call. I posted every word that was said in the courtroom. I posted all that. I treated it just like any other true crime case, except for this is my son. But I'm the one who turned him in. He wanted to hide out at my house. Right? And I said, oh, you can't fucking stay here. And there was a period of about 6 hours where we knew that the police were looking for him. Right? They wanted to talk to him. They had no warrant out for him. And we're just trying to figure out what, Braden hadn't passed yet. And we were just trying to figure out, okay, what are we going to do about this as a family? Which I can understand sort of how the laundries we're doing. When Brian came back for those 10 days and they went camping. And I was thinking to myself, well, they were trying to figure out what they were going to do, because he has told them. My son never admitted to us that he killed him. And I even told him, I said, if you're going to confess, don't fucking confess to me, because if you tell me you did this, I'm going to tell on you. I told him that straight off the bat. Straight off the bat. I said, I do not. Look, if my son would have came over to my house and said, man, Dad, I think I killed Braden. I think I killed him. I know I killed him. And if I wouldn't have immediately picked up the phone and said, look, my son told me he knows he did it, I would not be able to sleep at night. That's the difference between me and the laundries. I would not be able to sleep at night. But there was a time there's a video out there where Luke is at my house and he's talking to one of the detectives. This is probably about 12 hours before they arrested him. 14 hours. And I recorded it. He's talking to the detective. The detective is telling him, you need to turn yourself in. And my son, I've got the video. I think I'll put it back up. And my son's going, well, I'm just so scared. I don't know what to do. I should be with my family. Anything, he didn't know what to do. And I recorded it. And you can see that I sneak recorded it. My son didn't know I was recording it, because I just wanted to see what was going on. I wanted to catch it. To be honest with you, I did true crime and recording stuff that people say. Sometimes they say something that they don't necessarily mean to say. Right? But and I didn't know. He was telling me he didn't do anything. He was telling me he was innocent, that he don't know what happened to Braden. He didn't say, he said, he didn't put his hands on him. And here's my son telling me he didn't do this, but this baby's being rushed off to the hospital. All right. So I got my son telling me he didn't do anything to him, but my son is being rushed, but this baby's being rushed off to the hospital. My son is telling me he's innocent of whatever happened. Right? So I'm naturally inclined to believe my son at first. But the next day, John says he killed him on February the 14th. No, John, do your fucking research, idiot. The next day when Braden finally died, the attack was on February 13th. But the next day when Braden died, the detectives called our house, because I told him, I said, anything you need, I'll be cooperative. I let them search my house and everything, which was really cool. I let them search my house because they thought Luke was hiding in here. I said, there ain't no fucking way I'm going to hide him out of here if police want to talk to him. But I let him come in, and this is all in the paperwork. I let them come in and search my house and look over everything. They didn't find him. But when they was searching my house, I forgot. I had 2 jars full of weed sitting there. It was an ounce of weed and maybe $500-$600 was just sitting there because I didn't expect them to show up, so I didn't put that shit up. They didn't fuck with it. They didn't touch it. They weren't there for that. They saw it. They weren't there for that. But anyways, I let them search my house. But when they called and said, yeah, the decision was made to take Braden off of life support. Braden's father is in prison for murder because he snuck up behind somebody after a fight. The guy tried to walk away, and he snuck up behind him, haymakered him, hit him right in the temple, and then he grabbed him from behind and slam dunked him on his neck, and he died. But Kelsey and Daryl made the decision to remove Braden from life support, and they called us. And they said, well, Braden has passed away. And I was sitting here at the computer. It was just me and Nicole. And they said Braden had passed away. And out of all the times that me and my wife have been together, my reaction was to slam my fist down on this desk. And I said, that motherfucking baby killer. That motherfucking baby killer. And that's the first time she seen me cry. Anyways, my initial response was, fuck him. He's guilty. But I got my son in my ear. And then I see John over there talking about Ralph got to me so bad that I came up with this fake Christianity. No, John, let me tell you something. I've been in the church all my life, dude. Ralph had nothing to do with that. And it's not a fake Christianity. See, when I come on here and I say, well, I'm a Christian now and I'm better than all of you people, so you need to follow me. No, what I said was I found new faith in God, and it's a work in progress, right? There's times that you're going, no Christian is perfect. I never came on here holier than thou. I just told people that I started to go to church. I'm really into the church now. I've changed a lot of things about me. A lot of stuff, but it's not fake Christianity, because I never said that I was better than anybody else. I don't preach to people on here. I don't say, well, you should follow the Lord Jesus and you should give your life over to God. No, I don't do that. I just came out. I put a few spiritual scriptures out. I've showed some things at the church that I go to, and I'm a lot different now than I was before. And I backslide, and I come forward, and it's a struggle. It really is. It's not easy to be a Christian. That's why so many other people like you, John, don't even attempt it. What it means to be a Christian is you're somebody that acknowledges that Jesus died on the cross for us, and you're working as hard as you can to become more like that. That doesn't mean Christians don't come out and say, well, I'm better than you, Sergeant Blackrock, and I'm better than you, Joy Lang. No, Christians, we are failures. We make mistakes. We fuck up all the time. Because look at it like this. If you're a doctor of medicine, right? You're a doctor of medicine. You don't need people that aren't sick to come to you, because you're going to say, you're fine, go away. Jesus and the Lord and God is the doctor of lost souls. He doesn't need people that have found souls to come to him. He needs people with fucked up souls to come to him. Now, let's look at the word fuck, and look at the word shit, and look at the word damn, and look at the word bitch. There's nowhere in the Bible that says you can't say those words, but this is what it does say. Let everything that come out of your mouth glorify God. Okay. John, you don't do that, do you? You don't do that, do you, John? You're not letting everything that comes out of your mouth glorify God. So who are you going to talk about fake Christianity? When's the last time your sacrilegious ass ever stepped into church? My live is open anyway. If John happens to come over here, he can come up on my panel, but he won't. So you don't talk about fake Christianity. Rel will tell you that he's a man of God. He says it. Don't you, Rel? You said that you're a man of God. Does anybody believe that? Well, as long as Rel believes that, and his personal relationship with God believes that, then that's all it's set, because I can sit here and talk. I can preach to you guys all day long. It doesn't matter what I say. It's about me and my personal relationship with God. Every word that someone says out of their mouth, they're going to pay it. They're going to be judged on that. So it's not a fake Christianity. Rel did not scare the hell out of me. He didn't. Rel annoyed the fuck out of me, and me and Rel are able to talk. I was disappointed at something that he did, and I didn't talk to him for a while, but we could talk. Because in the bottom, the bottom line is this: Rel could send somebody over here to kill me. I could be not thinking about it, and he could send somebody over here to kill me. You know what? So what, dude? So what? You can't change my mind. And as far as me going after these women or whatever, I ain't no different than what John's doing. Except for Tiffany. Now, Tiffany made some comments to him that he don't like. Okay, dude, shut up. So what? Monty called your son a retard that was running around the house, running into walls and bouncing all over stuff. How come you ain't making video after video after video of Monty? Huh, John? Maybe Molly and Tiff and Laura should hook up with Rel to get you to stop messing with them, picking on these women. Right? But Rel and John are boys. That's his boy. Rel and John didn't know each other until Rel started coming at me, and John weaseled his way over there. Somebody's going at Bryan. Well, let me go on over there. Instead of going on Bryan's panel and handling myself, let me go on over there and make friends with this guy. Because that's what happened. That's what happened. And John said, here's something John said. John said that Rel single-handedly destroyed BryanSt.John. Now, Rel did make things difficult for me, and my channel is not as big as it used to be. But here's the thing. John said Rel single-handedly destroyed him. Are you mad, John, because you couldn't do that with your bitch ass? There ain't no videos of Rel out there going, I used to hang with the pretty boys. There ain't no videos of Rel in the clubs dancing around with white guys making duck lips. Yeah. There ain't no videos of Rel going, I'm literally frightened for my life now. I'm calling the cops with tears in your eyes. There's no videos of Rel doing that, is there? John. Rel did the same thing everybody else does. When they get mad at me, they say, here's the piece of shit that killed a 2-year-old little boy, and here's his piece of shit father. Whenever somebody gets mad at me, that's what they do. Now I'm going to have to live with that because that's what my son did. That's what my son did. So, if they think that anybody that's got a criminal in their family, you know what? Let's look at Jody Arias' sister, Angela. She's on my Facebook. Is she responsible for anything that Jody did? No. Nope. That's what people do, and I'm just going to have to live with that. But John, this live, I'll be up for about 15, 20 more minutes, John, if you want to come over here and debate and have a talk with me. Fake Christian. What makes somebody a fake Christian? What good would it do for me to come on here and tell everybody, you know what, I found a different way. I'm liking to go to the church. There's videos of me going to church and videos of me taking my kids to church, John. There's videos of it. It's like explaining. Let's say you find something that you really like. Let's say some people like to collect cars. Some people like to cook. So I came on here and I say, hey, I found a different way. But I've always been in the church all my life. I've been in the church. But I've never really had a time where I started focusing more on it, started going to church, started applying some of those things to my life. And that's what I was happy about. That doesn't make me a fake Christian. The Bible said 2,000 years ago that when you express to people the human race that you have a newfound love for God, these people are going to mock you. They're called scoffers. And The Bible wrote it 2,000 years ago that people were going to do that, and John did it today. So when you get in your Bible, know that it's true. Know that it's true. Now, when somebody gets on their knees and says, "Lord, take this. I'll give you my all. Take this. Let me live for you. Let me be in a better way for you." It's not something that happens overnight. Like, you don't start kindergarten in school and then 2 weeks later graduate college. You have to go through all of the education. You have to be trained to it. You have to. It's a learning process. The Bible tells us that you're not going to say, "Okay, God, save me. Jesus, save me. Take me, and use me as you will." And then all of a sudden, well, hello, I'm BryanSt.John, and I've given my life to the Lord. Today I won't curse and I won't smoke, and I love you and I love you. And just come, we're going to pray right now. That doesn't happen overnight like that. That's why there are commandments. The Bible says that man's greatest works are as filthy rags unto the Lord. And when they say filthy rags, they don't mean just dirty rags that you've been cleaning with. They mean menstrual rags. A man's greatest works are as filthy rags unto the Lord, because God doesn't want you to go out and do good things and give all your money away and say, "Look what a great Christian I am." The great Christian is the man who has simply given his heart to God and said, "Take this and do what you can with it." And in his own time, patience, we wait. We wait and we try our best as human beings to do what this Bible is telling us. Like when we're little kids, right? That's why they call Jesus the Father. When we're little kids, we don't listen to what our parents tell us. Go clean your room. Well, yes, mother, I'll get on that right now. And half the time we try to find ways out of cleaning our room, taking a bath, being noisy, making messes. We don't listen to them. But as we grow older, we learn from our parents, and they teach us and they mold us, for the most part, into good human beings. So, and I am grateful. Okay. I am grateful for what God has done for me so far. It's only been a year and a half, 2 years, and I do slip into, he's taking drug addiction from me. I know that. I do look at things a better way, but I know from the church. I know from what I'm being told. I know from what the Holy Spirit puts on me, that my biggest downfall, the thing that I'm doing the worst, that the Lord does not like, is this fucking YouTube shit. And getting involved with people like John, getting involved in this drama and arguing and bickering all the time. But I'm drawn to it. This is where I'm not listening to the Father. Because when I'm not around YouTube, everybody in my family sees a different person. And in return, God has blessed me with a better job, a better outlook on life, new friends. Because most of my friends are in the church. A better financial security. After 20 years, I got my license back, got a nice vehicle. Things are going better at home. My kids are going. One of my daughters is more into the church than the other. So I've been blessed with a lot of different things now because of that commitment. It's like John tells everybody he wants to be a filmmaker, right? But you ain't win no Oscar, have you? You win an Academy Award today, John? You're a filmmaker, right? Well, you must be a fake filmmaker because you ain't got no Oscar. You ain't got no Academy Award, do you? You should have an Academy Award because you profess to people that you're a filmmaker. You should have a fucking Oscar, John. You should be putting out Spike Lee movies because you said you're a filmmaker. I guess you're a fake filmmaker, right, John? Y'all have a nice day. I just wanted to address a couple things. That's all. And speak. John can say whatever he wants to say. Yeah, he's not bothering me, Tawana, he's not really bothering me, and it's not a big drag fest. But, when people talk about you, you want to come and respond to it. The way I look at it like this is John got beat up a lot when he was a kid. He needs other people to help him. Because like I said, I called him to my panel over and over and over again, and he would not. But when Rel started dragging me, he brought his bitch ass up there on that panel. He'll stay on his side and drag. He's more than welcome to come to my panel. He's more than welcome to do that, but he won't. He won't go to Adept's panel. He won't go to anybody's panel that's dragging him. But just like when me and him and Rel were going at it, there's clips of it somewhere. Rel really did stay neutral. I was telling John, I said, "What? You want to come to my panel, but you need to put your hand in Rel's back pocket to get up there and get at me, bitch, motherfucker." That's what he is, a bitch. He's a bitch. Well, maybe I'll fly to Dayton, Ohio. We'll do a documentary. Well, let me know when you get here, John. You told everybody I said I was going to go down to New Orleans and beat your ass, right? Put that clip up. I bet you can't. I said, maybe I ought to come to New Orleans, too, and see if John will show up. That's what I said. But put that clip up, John. You can't. Just like Adept said, you make up all these lies, but you ain't got nothing to back it up with. Nothing. You bring up some old fake page that some people made, right? That anybody can make it. That doesn't make it true. And I showed on Skittlepox where I'll never be a big boy. Go look at Skittlepox. Because I break that whole clip down right there. I break it down. You can take a look at that. You can take a look at that. And John, one day you'll stop being obsessed with Tiffany. You'll stop being obsessed with her. I know you got this thing for white girl. No, well, actually, Denise, me and John had fought for about 3 years when he was riding Molly Golightly's coattails, right? He was trying to get on Molly because Molly had like 30,000 subs at the time, and he was talking to her and he was trying to ride along her coattails, and Molly put out this video that I didn't like. All right. And this is no secret. This is how me and Molly met. She put out this video that I didn't like about Shanann Watts. And I didn't know who Molly was. And I really went at her about that video. I dragged her for almost a year. Me and Molly fought back and forth over that video. But Molly since then has apologized a million times over that. Right? But anyway, like I said, Molly was John was doing a live, and I used to go over to John's true crime. When he does true crime, he does good true crime. He really does. It's good. He says he's a filmmaker, but he doesn't have an Oscar, so he must be a fake filmmaker. But anyways, I was trying to get Molly's attention because I had been going to John's. And I was trying to get Molly's attention, and I was in the chat. Hey, Molly, what's up with this Shanann video? And Molly was going to talk to me about it, but John said, hey, don't you come over here bothering Molly Golightly. I said, no, I'm not really bothering with her. I'm just trying to talk to her about it. Don't you come over here with that bullshit trying to talk to me. He goes, suck my dick, nigga. That's what John said to me. Because he was trying to ride Molly Golightly's coattails. So he needed to stick up for Molly. He wanted to get in on some of that 30,000 subs that she had at the time. But since then, Molly and I have said our piece. She dragged me. I dragged her. I made videos of her. She made videos of me. But she had the wherewithal to talk to me. And when I talked to her, I've talked to her from Milan. I've talked to her when she was in Prague. I talked to her when she just conversations. Right? I found out that this is a good person who she made a mistake. She shouldn't have made that video, and she'll tell you that. She made a mistake. But I think Molly gets so much shit on here because she's not fake. It's all these people that need to be fake. Yeah, when somebody comes along that's real, they can't have that. You can't have somebody that's real around here, around all this fakery. Yeah, he's dragging me for standing up for him. He can drag me all he wants. He knows he's a bitch. He knows he won't say that shit to my face. He knows he won't. John, you already look like you got two black eyes, motherfucker. You look like somebody literally punched you in both your eyes. Some of that darkness. You should put some cucumbers on your eyeball. The patches you got around your eyes. Oh, he's racist. He said my eyes is dark. No, it looks like somebody punched you in your face, John. Gonzo. He used to hate it when people call him pickle nose. What's up, Irish gal? Anyways, I just wanted to vent for a little bit and see if John, whose bitch ass is live, would slide on over here, but he won't. He won't. He ain't gonna come over here and talk. But, well, if Rel came up on panel and was up here, then John would come up too. That's the only time he's ever faced me one-on-one. Is when he had somebody to help back him up. I heard John was so poor right now he couldn't even pay attention. I heard he was so broke right now, the power company came and blew his candles out. And when I was little, one time I seen John's mama kicking a can down the street. And I said, damn, John's mama, what you doing? And she looked at me and said, I'm moving. Fuck you, John. Fuck your mama too, boy. Oh, he called me boy. He called me boy. I call lots of people boy. When they're acting less than a man. When they're acting less than a man, John. Well, he called me boy. Yeah, you are a boy. You're a bitch. You're no less than a man. There's no color involved in that bullshit. And then when John used to hang with Laura. They used to get along, right? And when Laura was coming at me, John was a part of that. You know, he would come at me a little bit too. And Laura calls herself Purple Mafia. Purple this, purple that. And Laura had said something one time and John backed it up. I said, yeah, go ahead, John. Drink that purple Kool-Aid. Oh, that's racist. He's talking about purple Kool-Aid. Motherfucker, we got Kool-Aid in our refrigerator right here, right now. That my kids drink. Ain't nothing racist about Kool-Aid. Anybody that happens to be of a different color or culture than you that disagrees with you, John, you call him a fucking racist. You play that race card as much as you fucking can. Your race card is wore out, bitch. You know, and I know that the words, I know Bryan's not racist, came out your mouth. You know that. You know that, John. So you can sit and lie all you want to. Rel said it too. I know Bryan's not racist. But you know you said that. You said, yeah, I know Bryan. I like Bryan. I know Bryan's not racist. You said that after we had a fight. And people say, well, he threw watermelons at John. No, I didn't. John wasn't in the chat. John wasn't nowhere around there. It's good to see you, Tawanda. It's good to see you too, Adrian, and Sergeant Black, and Denise P.I. I'm trying to see everybody in here. But I just thought I'd damaged goods. Yeah, John is going to die a very cruel, painful, and lonely death. Lonely death, John. You're going to die of sadness, brother. Sadness. You're a weak man. You're a weak man with an intelligent mind. He can be very smart. John can be very smart. But so can I, John. And we'll be waiting on that documentary. Remember, I got all the paperwork. Come on, fly in here to Dayton, John. I'll be glad to sit down and do an interview with you about this case. Y'all have a good night. Love Molly, love Tiffany. Yeah, I like Laura. Laura's not the kind that likes that old mushy love stuff. Maybe one day, John, you'll get more content than Molly and Tiffany and Laura. Seems a little obsessive. Piece of chicken grease, y'all.